About 25 years ago, I was in Bible college and I went to an Indian reservation. And then I also got to preach. There's a lady named Ruth Catalano. She's since passed away. She's quite elderly, but she was pretty well known on the East Coast in her prophetic gifts and in the charismatic circles. Beautiful lady. And I went to visit her, and she took me to this church that she had built. I mean, she financed it, and I got to be really close with the pastor and his brother-in-law, and just got to love these people a lot. And one story just makes me want to cry. Several of them, but I won't share that right now. I just want to share that also almost 4 years ago, I was so grieved about America. I just felt that I needed to pray, but I just wasn't praying. I knew I wasn't praying enough. So I asked some people to pray with me. Well, we've been praying now, like I said, going on 4 years. And just on the 21st of February, a couple nights ago, one of the gals, Judy Christine Messing Santiago, Judy had a vision of Indians. And I believe when God restores America, he's not just going to restore a piece of it or a part of it. He's going to restore all of it. And I believe the Lord is showing us that he's restoring. And why would God restore America? Because the people who came here loved God. They made covenant with God, and God keeps his covenant. So I believe God is showing us through these visions I'm going to share how God is keeping covenant. And I will mention this part, that when the pilgrims first came and the Indians first started interacting with them, they preached the gospel to them, and the Indian people accepted Christ, and there became a great revival. But then greed stepped in, and more people came, and that was kind of washed away. But the important thing is God is a covenant-keeping God, and God had made covenant with our founders and the Pilgrims and the Puritans and the Huguenots and all these people. And God doesn't forget these things, and he also doesn't forget that to restore this nation, he also has to restore these first people, this first nation. And so in this vision that Judy had on February 21st, a couple of nights ago, she saw these Indians on ponies. Now, we weren't talking about Indians at all, but she saw these Indians on ponies all over the White House area. And the sun went down, then the light came up, and the Indians are taking it all back. Now, and there was like an assertion that everything can be restored to them. And it's not impossible. Even though we've, come hundreds of years since then, we're certainly not going back to the nation full of trees and animals, but we can get it all back. God was promising that all of it can be restored. And then there was in her vision, she saw an Indian chief with a hatchet, and he was driving a large luxury car, and the Indian chief was, in regalia with feathers, and he took his hatchet and smashed it into the large luxury car that he was driving. And I believe that this is up for interpretation, but I believe the Lord is showing me that the leaders of these these different people groups of the First Nations, sold the people out, that they got rich at the expense of others, at the expense of the people they represented. And I believe this is an indication that the leadership will no more be sold out, will no more betray the people that they represent. So I feel very encouraged by that. Amen.
Amen.